One of my favorite golf courses, especially for the average golfer, Bartley Cavanaugh in Sacramento, California, the home of the bomb and gouge. First hole, fairly short par 4. I played from the back tees. I recommend playing from the back tees if you have distance because the course will probably play slow. Tried to get it over the tree, hit it thin, low ball hitter, still didn't get penalized. You can also notice for a muni course, lots of fun like undulation in the fairways, lots of bumps, just lots of different stuff. Good course for beginners and people that don't hit the ball far as well. First hole, made par. Have to say, the greens really had me confused. I'd put it up there with Monarch Bay in terms of I never felt comfortable. When I tried to record this earlier, I went on a long rant about how this tee box on the second hole is one of my favorite tee boxes I've hit from. Reminds me of an Edgewood Tahoe type tee box where you're hitting between these corridors. I love the freeway. I love that you see the sign for the golf course. It's just a fun hole, and it left me a sand wedge in. This hole is really an approach shot based hole, so whatever number you want to hit into the hole is how you play your tee shot, I think is the best idea. Again, not that familiar with this course, but I do know you want to leave yourself uphill putts. Gave myself kind of this side hill putt, and it just kind of twisted on me. It was just a hard putt to gauge. Once again, really for that, there's not much I can do. Third hole, short par 5. Basically, the concept is just don't go left. I think for most golfers, it's a very nice opening hole because if you have the super slice, you can actually hit into a parallel fairway and still have a shot to get yourself back into play. There's bumps and stuff as you get closer to the green. I hit a 2-iron low. It ran to about maybe 40, 50 yards of the green. Hit a fairly mediocre 58-degree wedge. And once again, just not very offensive when it came to these greens. And again, another low side miss, which kind of set the tone for me not having confidence because I felt like some of those rolls were pretty good rolls. Fourth hole is another par 5, and it runs parallel farmland, and it's kind of, I think, in my mind, if I were to think of an iconic hole of this course, I'd think it's fairly iconic because it's like Davis, the 18th, where you just have farmland running beside it. Not many hazards on this hole. It's just really long from the back tees. It's about 550 yards. So Los Lagos, Glenny Eagles, and San Francisco type hole. A whack from the driver, a 3-wood, and then a 58-degree wedge. Good distance control. I was a little off on controlling the direction, but, you know, one of these days we'll get that dialed. And then, yet again, now I'm going to miss high because I think that in retrospect, doing film study on this, I think I was nervous about missing low on my first 4 putts, but not a bad start. Joined up with a really nice person to help with the flow of the round. And this is kind of like my dreaded shot right now is like a 195-yard shot. I don't have complete confidence in any shot there. Left myself with basically one of the hardest pitches on the golf course, which is a short-sided elevated chip, and then the green was running away from me. As you could probably hear in the commentary, I basically said, great, a double bogey, and I double bogeyed that. This is a really neat hole because it's another position hole, and it plays to the theme of the Pete Dye kind of elements. I'm not going to document it great, but there's water all down your left-hand side. You just want to keep the ball in play and have a wedge or an approach shot that you feel comfortable with. I just played very conservative because it was a sucker pin towards the water, and I didn't want to get too aggressive. And I kind of skated out of there with a ho-hum par. You can see a little bit of the water. As we come back, this is just a plain Jane par 4. What's neat about this course, though, is you have to start your ball kind of in between these corridors, not on like a Spyglass or a Northwood, but it opens up, which is more forgiving for the everyday golfer. So I think it offers challenges for all different skill levels. I had just a wedge in, missed out left, and then I had this putt and converted for par. So honestly, not really a bad start. The par 3s here on the front 9, I don't really love it. This was a 5-iron from the back tees for me. I missed my approach shot. It's a Donald Ross tabletop green, and I hit actually a pretty good wedge up to there, and I converted for par. This is one of the many TPC Sawgrass type holes where basically if you're a slicer, which I tend to be with my driver, you can totally slice it into the water. I had to hit the mega cut, and I actually did hit it, and I was actually super hyped that I had only like 180 yards in, because these couple of these par 4s were really long playing from the back tees. Just tried to hit a 5-iron cut right there because I did not want water to come into play. You really want to hug that left-hand side, and this was just such a good chip. I thought I was going to make the super bird, but I'm fine skating out of there with a par, because that's a round ruiner type hole. That is a very tough hole. Yeah, we're going to see that in slow-mo. Hole 10, I missed my drive, but it was actually good. I didn't miss it, I actually hit a good drive, but I missed filming it. A little late on that 7-iron, but I got it all the way to the back of the green. I got to time my hips with my hands a little bit better. And then I went all the way to the back, and I think that there's a lot of local knowledge, which makes this course pretty cool, that you have to be accurate, but the greens are funky, and you kind of got to know where to miss, and I feel like I was missing in places that weren't always the place that the locals would know to miss too. This par 5 was super short. I'm not sure how it plays on the scorecard, but it felt very short. I really whacked that out there from the back tees, and then I had a 3-wood. I don't even know what my number was. I know I was about 240-ish, probably 250, and I almost got that to the green. So that was 2 good shots, and I almost chipped it there. And then I really got aggressive with my eagle chip, and it actually came back to bite me because I kind of tugged on, or I pulled it and didn't get rewarded there. I actually made par, which is disappointing, but you just got to learn to go with the flow. This is a very difficult par 3, and this is one of the reasons I love this course. There's this hill that you're going to see kind of right here. I missed on the top of the hill, and if you hit a chip that has too much pace on it, you're actually going to go into that water hazard. So I had to just hit something low and spinny, and then I didn't start that high enough. But it's a very difficult hole, and I think it's a very cool hole for a municipal golf course hole. It's more of a resort hole. Coming back, we use that same bit of water, and we just have a position hole. So now it's just, can you not hit a ball to the right or too far left, and then position yourself for an approach. 2 awful sand wedges by myself, so I'm definitely going to have to work on sand wedge. I got to work on what my assortment of clubs are, and then I butter knife it across the green. And then I really had to work hard for a 5 on this hole. I hit a pretty lousy putt from off the green. I was just like in a dark place, but I'm trying to be better at not being hard on myself. And then really had to work for this number 5 right here, and I convert. But just a course where nerves can get to you. Kind of the traditional Bartley Cavanaugh, which is kind of like Airways and Coeur d'Alene Golf Resort, where they're just, the interior holes are just bomb and gouge, just hit a big shot, try to get down there. That's what this is. So it was driver sand wedge, and I caught that a little chunky, pulled it, and gave myself kind of a lousy effort. On this hole, the water for the iconic 17th hole is the back, so you always want to be short. That's another thing that if you're looking at this is one of the signature holes, and money. I wish I had done that with a birdie, but it's great to convert. So this was a really, really awesome hole for me, and this moment on the course stuck with me. It was a 450 par 4. I hit a good drive, hit my 5-wood, put it on the green. And for me, honestly, my distance isn't that long, so a 450 par 4 is really a par 5 because I don't really have super distance. If I had hit that, that would have dropped. I just didn't feel confident with the pace. But to make a 4 on a 450-yard hole, I'm going to be good. I think it's 445, but I missed out left, and that made it longer. So that was good. This, I'm not sure what that is, but that was back at my tee box, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So that was back there. Once again, just bomb and gouge. Just keep the ball in play. It opens up to the right, so you can miss out right. Pitching wedge in. And this is one of the tough things about Bartley. The greens are very Donald Ross tabletop, and depending on the pin location, it's kind of hard to gauge where you want to land and where you want to miss. And once again, overthinking, and gave myself a short-sided chip and missed on the low side with that. So not an easy course. I think it's very deceptive. So this is the iconic 17th hole, which is a replica of TPC Sawgrass. Hit my gap wedge from the back tees, and this turned out pretty darn money. I was pretty pleased with it. It's a number I practice a lot. This is the walk up to the hole, so if you want to get an idea of what it feels like to play the island green, this is how you walk to it. And I had just this much for a birdie. But guys, don't be too mean to me. I missed it on the high side. And that was the day of my putting. I just couldn't ever feel confident over these putts. The 18th, I believe, is also a replica of, or kind of inspired by the 18th at Sawgrass, where there's water all down your left-hand side. The miss is right. I hit that pretty darn strong and had just an 8-iron in. It's like a buck 50 or something. And I think that I didn't shoot my number right because I thought it was good, and I actually came up well short. And this is so sick. Bad line, 3-putt bogey. Thank you for watching this vlog. I appreciate anyone who contributes or subscribes or even likes a video. This is a passion project, and I'm just trying to do the best I can.